You were actually the very first one bring diamond to Shanghai.
If you look at the number of brides getting a diamond in 1993, well, it was 0. 13 years later, it's over 60%.
Diamonds are rare. Diamonds are everywhere. In the popular phone game, Double Kill! In the thrilling sports event.
Still going very strongly again, the Chinese is flying!
But most importantly, worn by beautiful ladies. On today's Miser Millionaires, we will meet a veteran in the diamond business, Stephen Lucier, CEO of Forevermark. Listen to his unique idea about diamond consumption.
Diamonds are addictive. If you have one, you're more likely to get 2.
As a brand from De Beers Group, Forevermark recently announced the launch of Libertime by Forevermark in Shanghai.
Now you can take that and time for the magic mirror. So put it down here. Up, and there instantly are the details. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, so the picture was sent.
Now you're off.
Ooh.
And now you can send it out into all your friends and make them jealous.
Stay tuned. 财智对话由东航云锦东方冠名播出。
Hi, Stephen. Welcome to Miser Millionaires.
Yeah, thanks so much. Wonderful to be here.
Well, before we actually get started, I'd like to ask, when and where did you own your very first diamond?
It's fascinating because in my day, growing up in America, you first thought of a diamond, you really just thought of, well, when I get married, I have to buy a diamond. And so for me, very traditional first experience as a young guy was buying what in America we call the diamond engagement ring.
Do you still keep it? What did it look like?
Oh, I certainly did, yeah. You know, it has the emotional significance and emotional value, and even though it's probably quite a bit smaller than some that I bought subsequently, it's still, you know, it has that emotional punch. Well, you know, it was only about 1/2 carat. And nowadays you think, oh, 1/2 carat. But when I was a young guy just starting out, that was all I could afford. It was a pear shape, though. And subsequently, it's no longer in the ring, in the engagement ring. It's now reset into a pendant, but the diamond itself is still there and has that memories. I think I had to replace the ring with something a little bit bigger as the years went by.
Actually, I've got a very nice wedding photo here. It's from our team member. Look, this is a fancy one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very old-fashioned one. This is like a photo. Typically, you will see, I think, in 1980s, 1990s. So at that time, the gold is the first jewelry they would love to try.
And
so how did you actually?
Because diamonds were, I mean, the history here was much more around gold and jade, and the core of it was really focusing the diamond around in the early years around marriage, because you know marriage is such an important moment of commitment between two people, probably the most important. You know, when we look at cultures all over the world. People seek to mark those events with what is most precious to them. And I think the opportunity here when we started in China was that I think couples then, you know, it was an interesting time in China. The opportunities were opening for people who were very positive about their future and what could come to for them and what their lives were going to be like. And they looked out to the world and they understood that diamonds across the world were this symbol, and they wanted to participate in that way that others were. And I think that's what made diamonds, you know, take off so strongly. It's fascinating how quickly the market has developed and changed here particularly in Shanghai, to be honest. I mean, if you look at the number of brides getting a diamond, well, it was zero, only in 1993. 13 years later, 2006, it's over 60%. You know, to get there in America took us 40 years. It's been a fantastic journey, and it's at a rate of speed that's really left every other market around the world, to be honest, in shame.
In the 1980s, Stephen entered De Beers, the world's diamond conglomerate, and started his long and successful career in diamond business. In 2009, he was appointed CEO of Forevermark. Nowadays, the brand has covered 38 countries with over 2,000 stores.
You're based in London for most of the time. Actually, you have a special connection with China. You were actually the very first one bring diamond to Shanghai.
Yeah, I've been coming for a long time to China. I remember the very first time I came to Shanghai. You know, it bears no resemblance to what the city is like now. And the knowledge of diamonds, I mean, that was more than 25 years ago. So I think in 1991 was the first time I came. And at that time, you couldn't buy diamonds. And they knew something about them. They had studied in school that they were the hardest substance known to man in their geology class. You know, really oddly to me at the time, they knew that Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the old Disney story, and they knew that the Seven Dwarfs were diamond miners, which actually I had even forgotten that they were. So they had these two little bits, but they knew at that time, not surprisingly, because they weren't in the available, you know, they didn't know the story of diamonds and the magic and the mystique and the symbolism of diamonds. And so, you know, when we first came, we thought, well, this is going to be an interesting challenge.
What exactly did you do to raise the interest of these couples at that time?
Yeah,
there was no WeChat, there was no online shopping, there was no TV commercial. What did you do?
To be honest, it was a lot easier than it is now, because there was a wonderful thing called CCTV, give me the whole country. Everybody would watch the programs on that channel. It had huge viewership. We got the whole country. And it wasn't like today where you have to fight with all this fractured media and buy every bits and this and online and social and digital and this magazine. And then you could just buy television. And that was the core of our communication program in the early years.
How did you negotiate with CCTV at that time?
Yeah, it was really easy. It was, you know, because we were bringing, I think we were bringing content in terms of the quality and investment we made in our advertising at the time, that was really stand out within the market.
So it's a TV commercial, it's a documentary.
Yeah,
what type is it?
Yeah, we would be able to buy those days 2-minute long slots on television, and we'd run a combination of emotional advertising, so telling the story of how diamonds represent love and symbolism and promise, so that what we call the diamond dream, in a way, is what diamonds stand for everywhere in the world. And we told that story, and then there were opportunities working with them to do in-depth programs. So, you know, we could do 30-minute programs that were educational around diamonds and teach people where diamonds come from, what makes them precious, what makes them valuable. It was so much easier then.
So
probably every generation says that, but it seems a lot harder now to, you know, the things you need to do to engage consumers and interest them in this very competitive world. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like that back in 1993.
Mm. China in 1990s witnessed not only the infancy of diamond business, but also the golden age of television. Making the best of TV commercials in the national platform, Stephen and his team succeeded in telling the story of diamonds in the short period of time. Although the strategy didn't bring considerable sales revenue immediately, the slogan, "A diamond is forever," will lay a solid foundation for the boost in the years to come.
So did that strategy help you a lot what was the result after the TV commercial being put on?
I think
TV?
the core of that, and it took, as I say, we were willing to invest that for a number of years. We weren't worried about sales. We just wanted to make sure that people understood the meaning of diamonds. As a marketer, I never think really my job is to persuade someone when it comes to diamonds. My job is just to make them understand, because diamonds have an inherent authenticity. And then over time, we had to make sure that we had retailers with stock and diamonds in the stores, and so people could actually, physically see them. And but that came second. First had to be the dream.
Mm-hmm. But you still face a lot of challenge from the currency side, because at that time, I remember in Chinese it's called 友谊商店, right? People, they need to exchange the money, exchange the currency, and then to get the proper diamond. Does that?
Yeah, in the very beginning, you actually needed even dollars, huh? You had to go to what was friendship stores. At that period, to be honest, it was mostly for us taking the long view, because some people could do that, but many people those days couldn't. But we had confidence that the long-term policies in China were going to evolve, and that the need to build the economy through consumption as well as through exports was going to happen, and that the opportunities would be there in time. We use a funny expression. We say they're like meals, and then there are like snacks. So you have a couple of meals through your life where you're buying important pieces, but you can have snacks along the way that are fun, that are a little bit lighter.
But do you think when consumers like to eat something, would you confuse them when you have the dinner and snack at the same time? How would they value your brand?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good question.
Years ago, De Beers Group announced the official launch of diamonds bearing Forever Mark on the Chinese mainland. According to the company, less than 1% of the diamonds all over the world are qualified to be a Forever Mark diamond. And each piece has a special rhombus symbol and an identification number that is inscribed on the table facets of diamonds, which is invisible to the naked eye.
When we think about, let's think now 2008, when we looked at the market, we thought going forward, when we look across all luxury goods, we can see the power of brands and what brands can do that pure category marketing, or call it sort of unbranded retail efforts, couldn't do. And we felt we were missing potentially that in our sector. Brands are great at building trust with consumers. If consumer trusts in a brand, it reduces their risk around purchase. And we saw that in other categories, and we thought, in diamonds that would be really beneficial. Make it easier for people to buy. And what is a complex thing, buying a diamond if you haven't bought one before. I remember when I was buying my first one, you don't know very much, and you feel at ease. A brand is a great way to build trust and confidence. And that was a part of our core around Forever Mark. Mm-hmm. And then a brand, I think, has the opportunity to create emotional connection with people. And we could see the Chinese consumer almost more than other markets, more than the American market, which is the largest diamond market. But the Chinese consumer was much more brand focused than the American consumer at that stage. Led us to launch the Forever Mark first in China.
So what was the business model of Forever Mark? Did you still have like partnership with the Hong Kong company, and do you have different resources or sort of like retail stores? What was the strategy?
I mean, it is and remains the core concept of Forever Mark is that it is a partnership brand. Mm-hmm. Through the De Beers Group, we mine and sell rough diamonds, And with our knowledge of polished diamonds, we can select diamonds at Forevermark that are truly the beautiful
unique
diamond that I think it to be. And it is, as you say, one of a kind and carries with it its unique number. But we've always partnered with both to cut and polish the diamonds and retailers to sell them. So we're in about 1,000 stores here in China, but always with our partners. And together we think that's been a really effective model for creating rapid growth.
So how do you share the profit with the partners? Like from consumer side, for example, if I go to a store, let's say Chow Tai Fook, I will see a ring with Forevermark diamond on it, and it costs me probably 10,000 RMB or 20,000 RMB. So what is the percentage goes to Forevermark, and what is the percentage goes to Chow Tai Fook?
See, we don't, it's interesting because we don't really involve ourselves in the retailing side. So we work early in the chain, and because we through the group sell the rough diamonds, and then because we do the quality control work, that all gets built in before the diamond reaches our retail partners. Then it's up to our retail partners to do what they do best and to sell it as they would, any of the products that they sell. So that, in a way, what we think of us, we're really a wholesale model, and we make our revenue stream there, and the retailers make their normal retail profit margin, and that's up to them, and we don't interfere with the way in which they do that, because they know their way better than we do, and we're happy for them to do so.
Since the day they appeared in the market, diamonds have always been ladies' best friends. Just like Marilyn Monroe sings in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. However, as the economic empowerment of women in modern society, diamonds tend to have different symbolic meanings. In a hit Chinese TV series, The First Half of My Life, the female protagonist took off the ring and said,
戒指好看我可以自己买，我也会自己好好爱护我自己。
It sounds to some female audience as a women's version of the Declaration of Independence in the new era. Receiving diamonds via self-purchase rather than gift-giving is now becoming common and acceptable.
What would be the percentage in the next couple of years in Forevermark's market, in diamond market?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I mean, I think it's, today if we take out the bridal market, we're still probably about a 2/3 gift, 1/3 self-purchase. But if we go back 5 years, it would have been a quarter. It's now a third. In another 5 years, will it be 40, 45? There's no doubt in a decade, it'll be over half. Will be, I think, self-purchase, as long as we do our job effectively. Because I just think that it is the way of the world. There's nothing in the empowerment of women that says that love is not important. And love and commitment are basic, to me, fundamental human needs. I can go to any cultures that have never been exposed to Western civilizations, and you find that culture in the middle of the Amazon in Brazil, and you know what? They have love, and they have commitment, and they have symbols of that. And so I think that as humans, we need that. And that role that diamonds play should continue to play that, because it just meets a need that people have. But it need not be the only need that people have. And, it's one of the, you said in the beginning, why am I here? I'm here because of this new concept that Forevermark is launching, Libertime, which is all about this idea that diamonds can be more than simply symbols of the most important occasions. Diamonds can play a role that really reflect the spirit of this new, younger generation of millennial women who want different things.
While we are preparing the show, we actually found a very interesting chart. This is a chart about the motivation for millennials' non-bridal diamond acquisitions. Mm-hmm. It happens in 2014 and 2013 and 2015. So we will see the States, China, India, and Japan. It's interesting that you will see that celebration of the individual has a very large percentage in Japan. Yeah. And second is China, almost half.
Yeah.
So that was back in 2014 and 2015. So do you think the market and also the consumption needs are changed?
We've seen a greater change in China, although we're now seeing that also in the US. And interestingly, Japan has almost always been a self-purchase market. And it has to do very much with the whole tradition of who had control of the money in the household. And it was always the wife who controlled all the money. We see self-purchase of diamonds being the fastest growing segment in all the major markets today, America and China. I think the thing that has made China push forward faster than America is that China tends to be a younger market. And the millennial generation, the millennial segment in China, so the older people still a little bit more traditional than the younger. The younger woman feels no particular reason why, if she has the income and the money, why can't I spend it on things for me?
3、2、1，请剪彩。
As the diamond brand from De Beers Group, Forevermark recently announced the launch of Libertime by Forevermark, a new flagship store at HKRI Taikouhui in Shanghai. The opening marks the 1000th Forevermark store in China and comes as the brand celebrates its 10-year anniversary in the country.
What is the price range of your products at Libertime?
Yeah, I mean, part of, I guess I should say the other key element of the Libertime is to create a more, particularly targeting this younger consumer, to create a more accessible range of diamonds. And so, price points from as little as 3,000 to 10,000 RMB, because we don't want people to think of diamonds only as a once-in-a-lifetime, my most special accounts.
You need to come back customers.
Yeah, we want people to also think about, what are the sorts of things I might wear every day, matching, some earrings with a ring I already have. And to come in store, even if they're coming, I like them to come in every month. Even if they don't buy every month, it's probably a little unrealistic to think that's going to happen. But I like them to come in and look and be excited and to create a wish list for the next time, that they're ready to buy. I don't want them to think, I bought my diamond, I'm done for life. I want them to think about them as things that can enhance their life all the time. And I recognize to do that, you have to be more accessible in your pricing as well, because it's simply not realistic for people, to be able to spend 100,000 RMB all the time. Mm-hmm. Those are more important occasions in life. We use a funny expression. We say they're like meals, and then there are like snacks. So you have a couple of meals through your life where you're buying important pieces, but you can have snacks along the way that are fun, that are a little bit lighter.
But do you think when consumers like to eat something, would you confuse them when you have the dinner and snack at the same time? How would they value your brand?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good question. Obviously, Libertime has a much higher degree of design creativity in the piece, and while the focus is in that 3,000 to 10,000 RMB, there are some customers who come in and said, what do you have that's a bit more expensive? So we want a little bit of that, but you're right, it's not the core of what we're trying to achieve, and generally we would want those customers to go into a classic Forevermark partner where the higher value product is.
Well, speaking of the products at the price range from 3,000 to 10,000 RMB, we have a lot of choices in the market. For example, if I name some of the rings in your store, I can easily find some same format, same style ring with maybe 1,000 RMB less in the market. So how do you think about this type of competition?
You won't find any with a Forevermark diamond in it at that price. And that's why it is Libertem from Forevermark, by Forevermark, not just Libertem on its own. And it's, you know, the Libertem brings that design, but it's all based on the fact that the diamond in there is a special diamond, you know, selected individually, uniquely for its beauty. Even in a very small diamond, you can still make it more beautiful than others. And that's our demanding criteria. This is an extraordinary diamond installation, 270 diamonds, different sizes, different shapes, but mostly what it is, it's all the light, huh? And we were inspired from the Forevermark icon, huh? Because, you know, in the end, diamonds are about eternity. And where do you really think about eternity? When you look and you see the stars in the sky that have been there for billions of years, just like the diamonds. You know, when I look at sometimes the competitors in this, what we call it, the access, the entry range, a lot of them I look at it and I think it's like glass, plastic. Isn't it better to get people into the jewelry sector, but in with something real? Most of our data says diamonds are addictive. You have one, you're more likely to get two.
Libertine is the number 1,000 store in China from Forevermark. And also, it is the very first direct sale store in China, and let's say maybe in the whole world.
Yeah.
So what is the strategy behind all that? How would you like to balance your collaboration with the partners and this direct sale store?
I mean, when we look at the core Forevermark business, you know, the Forevermark brand, which is largely a bridal-focused or more expensive post-bridal focused product, but that's where its core is. You know, that's where we work so successfully with our partners, and we very much intend to continue to work in that way. But when we thought about Libertem in the first instance, it was such a new concept, and we wanted it to be so different in terms of the experience that we thought, you know, to start, it's probably best to do that in a way in which we can control everything, because this gives us the opportunity to create and bring new things into that environment that maybe wouldn't be appropriate in a more traditional store with higher value products. It enabled us to design specifically for this consumer mindset who are used to, you know, they're used to buying other luxuries, particularly fashion product, in this way. And so that, I think, is what made us think, let's do this Libertem concept. The feel inside it is different. It should feel younger. It should feel a bit more playful.
The new flagship store might not be as big as consumers expected, but its futuristic design and high-tech experience will definitely wow you.
Probably the first thing you notice doesn't look like an ordinary jewelry store, does it? First, we have this concept of you see the diamond bar, not the usual showcases, because it feels much more like a place you can come and just look around, and you see technology in the store, which you don't often see. I mean, you can use the finger touch here to search for products. When you find something you like, create a list. The brand ambassador will first find the product, and then you can find the details about it on screen. Now you can take that, and time for the magic mirror. So put it down here. Yep. Up, and there instantly are the details. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, so the picture was sent.
Now you're off.
Ooh.
And now you can send it out into all your friends and make them jealous.
Yeah.
Beautiful
I'll
piece
put it
of
on my moment.
Exactly.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Who is the designer of Libertine?
We have our team in Milan, in Italy, and what we call our Design Innovation Center, which designs for Forevermark all over the world, but it all starts there in the capital of Italian design. But we don't want it to reflect any individual country's design, but we want it to have that global feel. And I think doing that design work in Italy, but having them well immersed in trends, be they in America or China or Japan, is a way of them having this really sort of global approach to design and creativity.
Italian design itself is not enough now. To meet changing needs of Chinese consumers, Forevermark values the localization of its jewelry. For example, in Libertine by Forevermark, a new collection called Le Light is introduced and is designed by Timmy Xu Weizhou, a rising star in China's acting and music scene.
大家下午好，我是许魏洲。一直以来，光也是我自己的，其实算座右铭嘛。光，成为一道光。
If you said what are the two biggest trends impacting the world, one would be the economic empowerment of women, and the other would be the incredible impact of online, offline commerce. And, for a long time, I think the luxury goods industry thought, no, it must always be in the store because, that's the luxury environment and you feel that, and there's some truth to that. But it's also a little bit arrogant of us to think that way, because the real answer is, however the consumer wants it, that's the way it has to be. And this idea that we want to create a way in which a consumer can interact with us in a completely flexible, seamless way between store environments and offline. Sometimes they may search offline and select offline, but come in to try on in store. Other times they'll think about it in store and then buy it offline. We need to be neutral to that.
So you follow the consumption trend of omni-channel.
It is the future. And I still think with valuable diamonds, the more expensive ones, that people will want to be in store more than not. So I think that I have no fear about the future for stores. I think they're absolutely essential and will survive strongly. But I think if we don't create an environment that is seamless between the two, then we are not maximizing the opportunity.
New retail is the buzzword in the past few years, and this new concept has spread into almost every niche market in the retail world, whether it's fast-moving consumer goods or luxury products. For Forevermark, the omni-channel experience combines the Libertine by Forevermark flagship store, online platforms, and the launch of a WeChat store on China's leading social media platform.
What about the partners? Because the exist of Libertine is kind of competitor for your partners like Chow Tai Fook or Zhou Shenshen.
Well, in some ways it is, but not really, because I think the Libertine concept is all about a completely different incremental market. And so we're very focused and very determined to keep growing our core business with our partners. We think there's huge room for growing the core brand. And, when we look at things like marriages in China, it's fantastic over there. There's so many marriages that still we haven't sold the Forevermark diamond to. When I look at sometimes the competitors in this, what call it the access, the entry range. You know, a lot of them aren't actually with precious diamonds or precious stones. You know, a lot of them I look at it and I think it's like glass, plastic. Isn't it better to get people into the jewelry sector, but in with something real and something beautiful? And I think once you start down that path, then you're going to want bigger and better and more expensive diamonds in time as well. Most of our data says diamonds are addictive. You have one, you're more likely to get two. If you have two, you're more likely to get three. And so I think this is a great way to build the market for the future and really untap even more potential that all of our partners will benefit from.
Yeah.
Although China's diamond market has been truly thriving only for a few years, it has been witnessed the booming of the brands. Online purchasing craze and direct discount sale entering the competing arena. Chinese mainland is now the world's second largest diamond consumption market. In 2017, the market cap is over $10 billion. Its vast market potential attracts countless capital and operators, both local and international.
Speaking of your competitors, let's see if you have a look at the diamond industry during the last 3-4 years, you will find that Zbird.com, they have actually launched 2,000 square meter flagship store in Shanghai in 2015. Ceo went on public in 2016. So do you think entering this market with Libertime by Forever Mark is a bit late?
Yeah, no, I don't think so, because in many ways we don't even think of them as competitors, because we're in this market of focusing really on the beauty of our product and making sure that it comes to market in a way that everybody could be proud of. Our task is to use all the tools that are available in this modern world. Using online to really strengthen your offline stores is really important.
What's your perspective for Chinese market in the next couple of years?
I'm always have been, I guess, from the beginning, and I suspect I always will be a huge optimist about the opportunities for diamonds in the first instance and for Forever Mark in the second. And it's because fundamentally I believe in China, and I believe in Chinese women and their desire for having beautiful things. When I look out 10 or 15 years, you know, my sense is that China will eventually catch up to America in terms of its share of the diamond market.
Thank you. Thank you for the compliment for Chinese women. And also thank you for coming to our show to share with us all your experience and your thought about Chinese diamond market. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
你知道新零售吗？零售真的有新和旧的概念吗？
所有的新的模式，然后回头给它套一个原来的概念，比如零售，因为它找不着合适的词，然后来定义，它就用一个最简单，然后又最偷懒的方式，前面挂一个新。
其实我们当时认为，其实是全渠道。那么所谓的全渠道，就是线上线下融合。其实从消费者的维度来看问题，而不是说从从业者的维度看。